Hi everybody, it's Ben, Fat Preacher Man, and this is video number 3 in the Learning to Lead Manager series. So today we're going to talk about accountability and responsibility. Now we've already talked about attitude, we've talked about delegation, and I've mentioned these a little bit, but these two topics go together and they're so important that they need their own discussion. So accountability and responsibility. You can't really hold someone accountable if you're not giving them the responsibility. And what I mean by that is you want someone to meet a certain level of performance. Well, you need to teach them and you need to give them responsibility to do that. For example, you want let's say you're district manager and you have a store that you need to hit a certain goal. They need to be responsible for that. You need to hold them accountable. And they need to understand they're going to be held accountable, how they're going to be held accountable, how are they being measured, what are the goals that they have. And, again, as a district manager, you would delegate that out, follow up, and implement corrective procedures, and, give positive corrective feedback. But that accountability should be a way to let them know that you're concerned. You're not just giving them busy work. And that responsibility that you're giving them will help them buy into the job, to see that there's more to the job than just doing things because they're told to do it, that there's a reason behind it. And part of that is when you really help them understand the mechanics of the business. Now, in district manager, store manager level, that should already be in place. But let's talk about assistant managers, key holders, regular associates. A lot of these people, when they first get hired, especially young people, don't get the concept of a business needing to be profitable to stay functioning. Customers don't care. They'll come in, for example, in the food industry. Oh, I want extra this. I want free sauces. I want free napkins. I dropped this. You need to replace it. I want to return this. This is way, they don't understand that that's all eating up profit, and that profit is what keeps the business going. Because as a business, you're already going to have overhead. You're going to have to pay for labor hours. You're going to have to pay for whatever you're doing. If it's food, you're going to have to pay for the food. If it's clothing that you're selling, you have to pay for the clothing. If it's yard materials, whatever it is, there's costs that go into the business. There's a cost of keeping the lights on, the licensing fees. All those things got to come out of the money that comes into the business. Doesn't matter if it's service, doesn't matter if it's food, whatever. That money automatically has to go towards those things. And then, of course, the managers want to get paid. And then as it keeps eating away till you get to that bottom line. And if the store is not being profitable, and this is a corporation, let's say, that means there's going to be shareholders. And the shareholders don't get their share off the top. They get it off that bottom line. So if they're not happy, then they're going to sell their shares. Stocks are going to go down. And the business is going to fail. So keeping customers happy is priority. But why is it priority? Because that lets you maintain a profitable business. So there has to be a balance. Teaching your team that your business has to be profitable, how it can be profitable, enables them to be responsible for it. And then you can hold them accountable for it. For example, in fast food, some of the major costs are labor, food, paper, and condiments that you can control. There are costs you can't control, like rent, advertising, again, the licensing fees, things like that, depreciation. You can't control that. The things you can control are what make all the difference, especially in a fast food industry, because that business is all about pennies. Getting every penny's worth out of every dollar that comes into the store. As a percentage, for example, in McDonald's, it used to be that food was around 23 to 25% of every dollar. So for every dollar that came in, 25 cents of that was going towards the food cost. Another 15 cents of that was going towards labor costs for crew. 5% of that was going towards food management costs, and then anywhere from 2 to 4% for paper and condiments. So The more you balance those out, take care of them, waste as little as possible, the more profit you're going to have for other things that come up. Repairs. Things are going to have to be repaired. But if your team doesn't know to take care of them, that there's a reason you need to keep things functioning, cleaned, let people know if things start to leak or start to look like they're breaking down, doing the quarterly maintenance, yearly maintenance. There's a reason for those things. But teaching your people this, learning it yourself, learning what can I do to keep these things running and functioning, lets you be responsible and held accountable. A lot of businesses now have timetables for when things should be done. You should have a schedule. You should have an understanding of when does the exterminator come in? When does the person who cleans out our HVAC system come in? You as a manager, especially if you're a store manager, should know these things. Assistant managers should learn these things, and everybody else should know about them so they understand this is where our money going, because they see money coming in. Associates, low-level people, especially young, and they just think that, it's just all going straight into the bank. Yeah, it goes to the bank, but then it comes right back out. So much of it comes right back out. Back in the day, working at McDonald's, really, really profitable McDonald's could get a bottom line before, the base bottom line was a good number, was 40%. So that means out of, if a store made, $1 million in the course of a year, $2 million in the course of a year, 40% of that is what's left over after paying crew, and then there's still things that come out of that. That's just the baseline profit margin, because there's still things that have to be paid out of that. So in crew, again, don't understand that now. Personally, I think that some fast food models are broken, and they invest too heavily in advertising and some other things where they should be investing in crew people, because you expect a lot from them but don't pay them much. It's hard to keep them. It's hard to groom them and want them to stay and be and to help you be profitable. Especially as a manager who might get a bonus, but your crew people don't get bonuses. You get sick leave. You get all these benefits, but they don't. So what is the motivation for them to care about the business being profitable, aside from just keeping a job? But if it's just a minimum wage job and they get crapped on and they don't care about it, so what's the point? There has to be something more. So again, that's kind of sidetracked, but letting them know that they can contribute to that, and if you make more money, they can get more hours. That's the biggest thing for them, that they get more money by getting more hours, by making the store more profitable, by getting good reviews. If you guys use mystery shoppers, your team, or customer reviews, letting them know, finding a way to positively hold them accountable. Jimmy got a great review from the customer, so I'm going to put that in with his information, so when it's time for his performance review, it's more likely that will help him to get a raise. Conversely, if they get negative reviews, that needs to also be hold them accountable. Now, both of those things need to be taken carefully into account. If it's someone being irrational and there's proof of that, that should be taken into account. If it's someone trying to fluff up reviews just so they can get a raise, that needs to be taken into account, and that should be dealt with harshly, in my opinion. But again, responsibility enables a store, a business, it doesn't matter what type of business, to allow the team to be held accountable so that the manager isn't the only one held accountable. But as a manager, you should do your best to know these aspects of your business, so you don't have to wait for your DM, your regional, to hold you accountable. You don't have to wait for your owner to hold you accountable, because you're holding yourself accountable, because you know you have the responsibility to the business. Okay, so again, any questions, any ideas, let me know, hit me up. Check back soon. I'll have links for the first 2 videos and link for the 4th video whenever that's out down below. Have a great day. Jesus bless you.